Good morning, guys. Hi there, Zypher, TJ, Antonio. Welcome. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome. Hope we all had a good day yesterday as well. Good afternoon. There were some really nice moves on gold yesterday towards the late half of the day. GJ was being GJ. Absolute mess. Just massive consolidation. We still are kind of consolidating, to be honest. But let's just give it 2 minutes or so, and then I will do a nice breakdown for everyone. Let me just get out all of the other stuff. There we go. We're going to reset these charts so I can do a full breakdown. You can see exactly what we're going to be looking at on GJ as well as exactly what we're going to be looking at on gold. Gold is currently trying to push down, but again, not very interested in sells at this point, guys. Of course, we do need to at some point probably come back and retest this sort of area, but for now it looks like this could just be a slight push and then to later on continue bullish. Balas, good morning. So let's get into GJ first, because it looks like we could have a possible sell situation coming up at some point today. If we look at the weekly time frame, obviously we are still bullish in market structure. Our current weekly candle, however, is quite bearish. Yesterday we had some strong bearish momentum. Towards the end of the day though, we did start pushing a little bit bullish, but we'll get into that as we drop down. Our market structure on the daily is also currently bullish. The trend, however, because remember guys, market structure is slightly different to the trend. The trend, you will often look at the daily candle for what is the daily trend. Alessandro, good morning. So the trend of the day is obviously bearish. We can see that based on the current candle. Often you'll be able to tell by using that. But the market structure of the daily is currently bullish. Remember, high created by this point down here, we have not exceeded that point. So if we're going to be looking at possible sells, we are obviously going to be looking at a daily wick fill. Yesterday was obviously quite a bearish day. But then, like I said, towards the end of the day, we left this long wick on the bottom of the daily candle, which was obviously that strong bullish momentum which we had towards the end of the day. Now on the 4 hour, we can obviously start looking at some possible supports and resistances to mark out. I would say that this is a pretty valid 4 hour resistance level. If we're going to be looking at support, we are currently forming for our support. This candle still has another 2 hours to close though, so we're obviously going to mark that out, because that means that there is going to be some lower time frame support such as 1 hour or 30-minute support at that level. Other than that, you can mark out the bottom here, this 4 hour support level, but we still need to get quite far down to get to that point. Market structure, by the way, on the 4 hour has maintained bullish. That was our high. We look for the 2 more candle pullback. That is down at this level. We have not exceeded that point just yet. So sorry about that. So now we're going to drop down to a 30-minute time frame. This way we can fine tune our zones and look for those trading areas to trade into. So this was that 4 hour line we had put in on the current developing 4 hour support level. You can see we are currently developing some support which could possibly lead to that 4 hour support. So that is at the moment 30-minute level of support. If we break through this 30-minute level of support, you can clearly see we have clean candles to the left. So that obviously is very important when we're looking at a possible trading zone. So I would certainly say potential sells below 155.993. Obviously we want to see that candle close. Now the buys is where it gets a little bit tricky. Also we can move this up to see where we could possibly come down to. I would say possibly the support level, if not react in these wicks over here, and that's where we could start rejecting. Obviously if we have good volume, we will come back down to the support level. The buys is where it does get a little bit tricky and a little bit harder to identify entries. So if we look on the 1 hour, you can see we have clean candles to the left above this 1 hour resistance. So the only problem with that is we have a large rejection wick within that 1 hour, and you can see obviously that is our 30-minute support, resistance which we had formed. So within this clean 1 hour range, very similar to when you see a clean 4 hour candle, within that candle you're obviously going to be able to identify some lower time frame resistances or supports. So these are going to be your very risky buys above this 156.519 level. There's going to be some very, very risky buys into that level. If we're going to be looking for the safer buys, it's most definitely going to come above this 156.856 level. You can see if we break above this level, we have an extremely large amount of range to trade into, very clean candles, and we also don't have any, you know, sort of minor resistance levels such as 30-minute resistance levels within that. You can see it is all clean candles. So what I would be looking for personally is these are going to be your very aggressive buys. I don't know if I'm going to be too interested in that. I'd preferably like to see a candle close above this level and then maybe be a little bit more aggressive with it, but I would say that this is your main point when looking for buys. So let's just type in here. I personally am currently quite interested in sells, guys. It is counter trend, but I would say that it is against market structure, but based on the daily trend, I would say that there's a chance. So these are potential sell levels, and then we obviously got aggressive buys. If I could spell, that would obviously also help. This is very high risk, and then these are obviously going to be our safe buys. So if we're going to be currently now looking for some sell entries, because again, that's probably what I'm going to be looking at more so than these buy levels, especially with London Open coming up. I do want to see that candle close below this level. At the moment, we do seem to be retesting this sort of level of support and turning it into resistance. We've already kind of done that, but we are consolidating at the moment. So at the moment, there are no candle confirmations to be taking any positions whatsoever, buys nor sells. We're trapped in this range. You can see this is a very, very unfortunate consolidation that we're stuck in, and we don't want to get involved in that at all. What we want to do is trade our clean trading ranges, and that again is only going to come below our marked out support or above our marked out resistance. And even the marked out resistance, we have resistance level right here, which we do need to obviously be wary of. I saw that there was a chart in Telegram. Velasquez posted a really nice chart in Telegram. We're just going to take a look at that. Again, very similar support that you have marked out, clean candles, you have that marked out, and you also have risky buys above 156.6, which is really, really important. I'm really glad that you marked out and identified that that is a risky buy due to the rejection work, and obviously we have resistance levels right there. And the range in itself is not very good. And then obviously you have the safe buys marked out. So yeah, this is a really, really nice chart. I do like it. All I would say about these safe buys, guys, is it is a huge amount of range above this level. So don't expect this whole move to be corrected immediately. What might happen is it might take, you know, a couple of candles or even a push, higher low created and then a push. That's if we are going to come up. So you just got to be patient with that. Often huge moves like that don't get replicated immediately or corrected immediately. It will often be like a shuffle up, but you will get a move within that zone. Alessandro also has a chart for us here, so let's just check that out. I've clicked the wrong thing. So you are, if 4 hour candle closes something like this, would you be more interested in taking buys into that zone? Certainly, because then that means we are actually respecting the overall market structure. Because remember, market structure at the moment is still bullish. Good morning, Sharif. Welcome. Market structure is currently still bullish. So obviously we are, by taking the sells, taking trades against market structure. However, the daily trend is obviously bearish. You can see that based on the current daily candle. So at the moment, you can see today there has been more sellers pressure in the market. So if we do start seeing some bullish higher time frame candles print, such as a strong support or a strong 4 hour support, then yeah, certainly the buys into this sort of range and possibly continuation will make a lot more sense. So certainly would be looking for something along those lines. We got about 2 minutes till open, so let's just wait and see. and then hopefully we're going to get some volume. I was just checking something. Yeah, let's wait and see. Even, to be honest, based on how the volume has been, you saw yesterday was just a pure impulse entry. Based on the 30-minute time frame on GJ, we might have a very similar situation today where we break below these levels and then it might be an impulse. What I would suggest with that is just look at and identify how you're feeling, especially with the month so far. We are about, we actually more than halfway because it is February, but we are about, this is your halfway point of a month, and you need to decide, okay, am I up or down for the month, and do I want to take risky entries? Can I afford to take risky entries, or should I just play it safe and get out of this month? If you are sitting in losses, maybe try to get yourself back up to break even and make some small profits. Just be careful with that. Would you consider a buy based on the 4 hour, so more pips with stop loss? Would you consider a buy based on the 4 hour? So if I take the buy, I don't think I will base it on the 4 hour, because obviously this 4 hour hasn't respected the low of the previous 4 hour. So if I'm looking for buys, I'm going to want to see this candle properly close first, and then, because we still have quite a long way to get back up to these aggressive buy levels. So stop loss is probably going to be based on the low time frames, possibly below a 30-minute candle or a 1 hour candle. Obviously, if this 4 hour candle prints strong bullish, and then the next 4 hour candle wicks down and breaks the high, and we close above this resistance level, then the stop loss is going to be based on the low of that 4 hour candle. So let's say this 4 hour candle closes strong bullish, and then the next one does this, wicks down, breaks this resistance. My stop loss is going to be below the new 4 hour candle. Good morning, Ross. What do you think about GU self breaks current support and continues to test the strong support? Let us check out GU. We are sitting on a support level right now. GU is terrible, by the way. I wouldn't trade the GU at the moment. If anything, base it on the 1 hour time frame. You could definitely place a support there. Would have resistance drawn up here, because then basically what you've identified is if you break this resistance level, you have clean candles to left. If you break this support level, you have clean candles to left, and in that case, then yeah, possibly you could come down to these levels, if not further. Sorry, London Open has just happened, so let's take a look at what sort of volume we're going to get, and if we're going to be able to find any possible entries. We have completed, like I said, we formed some resistance at this previous level of support. So what we would ideally like to see is on the 4 hour retest of this low which we created. You can see we created a low, came back up, formed some resistance, and now we are coming back down to hopefully retest this low. That will be ideal. Obviously, we need the volume to do that. So yeah, with those GU sells, just be very risky. If you're selling on GU, you can see you're selling on a level of support. And if you break that, you have another level of support right here, and so on. So very, very risky. Just be careful with that. Let's go back to gold on this chart. Gold is extremely bullish, but sorry, that's GJ. Gold is extremely bullish at the moment. You can see we are actually coming down a little bit. Might be trying to correct some of this move which we had up. Again, guys, I'm not interested in these sells at all. I do see a high probability that they could possibly play out. You can see we've had a solid candle close below this support, and now we are retesting that support with a wick up of the new candle, and then if we break this candle low, we obviously have clean candles to the left. It just is counter trend, and I don't really feel like at the moment getting caught up in a counter counter trend trade. You can see how bullish the daily candle is. 1 hour, I suppose, is also just closed below 1 hour supports. But you see the problem with taking counter trend is you can react anywhere within these wicks and then start going back up. So that's where your issues come in. Still need to renew my thing. Daniel Savage has London stream on YouTube, and Roger started writing in the chat, suddenly became 1,000 viewers. Yeah, they definitely don't look at each other like eye to eye. They don't see each other eye to eye. But I mean, Daniel, like we know, is pretty much a fraud, and Roger is like, he hates that sort of trader, people who literally live off of subscription money and all that sort of stuff. Daniel's also a very, very emotional trader, so you'll see he struggles to handle loss, and if he takes a loss, he'll go and delete his stream or delete the VODs, anything like that. He is not a great handler of loss. So yeah, we just got to sit and wait now, guys. Not much at all we can do. Certainly a no trade range. I would say more or less this whole range on GJ. I'm not interested in that at all. You can see on the lower time frames too much choppy price action. Although we may be able to come up based on the 4 hour. We do have clean 4 hour candles. These wicks on the 4 hour, obviously your lower time frame resistance levels, and I just don't want to get caught up in that sort of nonsense. So let's just wait for our safer areas for price to come to our safer areas. And then, yeah, we can more than happily try and find an entry based on the much, much safer zones to trade in. At some point today, we will definitely either get into this aggressive buying zone or the much safer sells. Just based on, we also want to see how the daily candle continues. Because if we are going to get a daily wick full, then of course we can start seeing some further bearish continuation. Also, if we're looking at the weekly time frame, it's important to remember that based on the higher time frame, we are rejecting, or last week we did reject towards the end of the week, a weekly level of resistance. And as soon as you start seeing things like that, it is a sign that based on long term, we can continue then. If we're respecting resistance, we can continue bearish. And then we can obviously talk about fundamentals just now. Ross, to me, after last Friday's news, which changed the market's direction, it seems the market's moving back to its previous rhythm. Means UJ should be, it means that the pound should be strong, and we have upside moves most probably. Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Obviously, we can have, you know, bullish or bearish moves as long as we know exactly where we want to trade. So even if we do, you know, after the bad news came in, if we start getting some good news and back to the normal market structure, because we obviously did still maintain that bullish market structure, we don't want to be trading in these sorts of ranges. Even this is a bit tough. What we want to do is obviously trade within the much safer ranges, which is going to be above our 156.856 level. Hey mate, how are you? Good, thanks to yourself, Jessica. Stream is amazing. I'm hooked. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Can you do technical analysis on AX200 if you can? And can create, if you can, and does only technical analysis work and can create income? Obviously you can trade purely based on fundamentals, but technical analysis is obviously, I would highly recommend it. I am more of a technical trader than I am a fundamental trader. ASX200, I have to be honest with you, I have no idea what that is. Let me just type it in. Okay, so it looks like this is ASX200. I'm just going to keep an eye out on both GJ and gold here. Gold's actually looking more likely to come down. like I said, I've never looked at this in my life before. I actually didn't know what it was, but very easy to do a technical analysis based on any, this is the nice thing about trading this way and understanding market structure, is technical analysis can then be done on any pair or any indice, whatever it is, even crypto. So if we're going to be looking at price action and market structure, you can see we're bullish in market structure based on the previous week. All you have to do for market structure on the weekly time frame is look at the previous week. So you can see we are bullish. This way it gets a bit trickier, and you can see there's also a lot of gapping here. So we obviously need to now identify our daily market structure. This is our low. We look for the point which created the low, which is your 2 more candle pullback. That's going to come all the way at this point. So we are bearish in market structure on the daily time frame. There's a lot of gaps. So obviously it is not easy to read, but I would say that based on the levels that we have at the moment, here's a daily support level, and this is our daily resistance level. So those are the levels we're kind of bouncing between on the lower time frames. You can see on the 4 hour we are more or less forming a bit of a bearish consolidation, so we're shifting down slowly. Market structure clearly, let me see what we have here. These gaps aren't the easiest to read. I would actually just say market structure is bullish on this based on the 4 hours. So at the moment we have 2v1 bullish weekly and 4 hours bullish, daily is bearish. We can obviously fine tune these. So this is obviously your daily support now based on the 4 hour. You can see the daily support is made up of a 4 hour support, sometimes multiple. And then we have a daily level of resistance. Now we're going to drop down to a 30-minute time frame. Again, large amounts of gapping here, but you got to read it how you got to read it. And yeah, I'd say sells below 7136. The market structure as well is extremely tough to read on this, but I'd say this is your low created by this sort of area. So we're actually only going to be bullish above here. So we are bearish, 2v2 bullish bearish. So buys or sells make sense. I'd say your safest buys are going to come above this level. Don't get involved with price in this consolidation. You can see that there's some major issues there. Here we have clean candles to left, and below this area we have clean candles to left. So that's your technical analysis more or less. Obviously it can go more in depth. This chart is just obviously not a chart that I look at very often, and there's a lot of gapping in this market as well. So yeah, take that as a very basic technical analysis on that. Sorry about that. Okay, well there goes GJ. And there goes gold. Again, not involved in either or, guys. Although this is really good for GJ, because if we do start coming back up, like I said, we can definitely be looking then for those continuation buys and continue, because remember we still have our 3v1 bullish market structure, so we'll then continue with the market structure. Blip says, hope all well, very well, thank you yourself. If you were to do a funding challenge, how would you structure the 30 days? Would you go aggressive at first few days, or be conservative first? Would you have a daily goal, etc.? Definitely depends on the funding challenge. I know I've personally never done a funding challenge, but I know from people who have done funding challenges that you do have time limits on when you need to make X amount by, or your percentage returns or anything like that, which I think is very wrong. You should never be forced into trading. That's almost forcing you to take trades which you could possibly not want to take. So how I would go about it is obviously the same way I go about normal trading. I know the only problem with that is you do have time pressure on you, so you need to have certain results by certain times. I think that's how it works. Again, I haven't done it. From what I've heard, that is how it is. So what I would do is I wouldn't change anything. I would stick to my normal trading plan, stick to the basics, 1 to 2 pairs, 1 to 2 trades a day, and I'll trade aggressively if I'm kind of forced to. You have to at that stage, but otherwise I'll just stick to a passive way of going about it and the normal way of going about it. How to trade gaps? I don't you know, none of the charts I look at, and this is definitely why I use Forex.com, is they don't have gaps. So you won't see gapping on this chart, but if you go to something like Rwanda or a different sort of liquidity provider, you will see gaps in the market. So you need to find maybe that Australian index with a chart which doesn't gap like that, so that you can actually read how price moved through that area. Because what gaps happens basically is that price wasn't being registered by your liquidity provider. And then they are just assuming where they started getting price registered to them again, that's where they start recording the data. And then obviously in that time that they weren't recording data, you have to put something on the chart, and that something is actually nothing, which is the gap. Enter on gold at the flip. Really well done there, Alessandro. Again, like I said, guys, very, very nice setup on gold. Obviously, for me, just to counter trend in my eyes. Daily candle was strong bullish. The market structure of gold, of course, was 4v0 bullish. So this would kind of be going against how I look at it. But candle setup wise, and obviously we have clean price action to the left, clean candles. Perfect setup. Got a close below support, a wick up, so this gives you your stop loss level. What it also does is provide you with a retest of this previous level of support, and then you can see clearly we came down to the support level. We are even exceeding that. But what this could also provide us with is a 4-hour retest of a previous level of resistance or even support, and then to further continue bullish. So what we could start doing is forming supports at these levels or even these levels down here, maintain market structure and come back up. That is always what you got to look at. If you miss a move, just understand that that move that is happening is going to create another move later on. That's a great way to stick to not having FOMO or looking at it like that. Sorry, just to clarify, it's under the code of XJO. Please kindly see. Thought it was popular, but obviously not. Please check XJO. That's the real index. Russia says. Okay, so that's probably why we had the good news then. Let me just check XJO. Okay, I'm much less gapping. Was this the same chart though? Definitely doesn't look the same, unless that other one was just so bad. Could definitely be, yeah. But yeah, the analysis is going to be pretty similar. Again, bullish market structure on the weekly. Based on the daily, you're going to be bearish market structure until you get above this point up here, because you can see that is where you created the low from. There's your 2 or more candle pullback. 4 hour is currently bullish as well, and 30-minute is currently bullish too. So I'd actually be looking for buys based on this. You can see here's your resistance level, clean candles above that. Here's your support level. I would say that's your most relevant support level. Reason for that is if you break below that, you have clean candles below that. So I would say sells below this level, you also have a market structure flip, because there's your high created by this point over here. Sorry, actually created by this point over here. So by the time you get down to these levels, you at least have more market structure on your side. Based on the low time frames, you obviously have clean candles, so you should be able to get down to this point. And if you break above 7261, you can not respect that resistance level, get above here, and possible see buy continuations to this level. So that's just a quick analysis. Like I said, don't trade this. Actually never looked at it, to be honest, but I hope that that does help out just a little bit. This will be, like I say, guys, especially based on, let's say, the 4-hour time frame. This is exactly what you were talking about earlier, Alessandro, like a nice strong 4-hour candle. So if we get this candle close, obviously there's still a long time, it's over an hour and a half actually, until this candle closes, then we could see those potential buys back up to this sort of 157,692 level. Definitely something to look at. If we're gonna, we haven't been through fundamentals today. We have PPI coming in. That's going to be later today, so definitely something to take into consideration. That's at 3:30 my time, which is probably going to be either a bit earlier or a bit later for most of you guys. So definitely take that into consideration. That is some high and medium impact news. We've already had all the low impact pound news come in today. so not too important to look at. Wednesday, so tomorrow is the big day when it comes to news. We have some CPI coming in on the pound, so that's going to be quite early. That's actually going to be just before the stream, so about an hour. So definitely going to be important to know what your plan is for that. And then we have some high impact retail sales news coming in for any dollar related pair. So again, that's going to be highly important to be aware of, and that is coming in just after London Open. Just after New York Open, half an hour after New York Open. So yeah, that will be something to look at. Also, they are expecting some pretty different numbers based on their forecast. Again, not very accurate. I think for the rest of the week though, after Wednesday, we have some very low impact news. We have some unemployment claims coming in on the dollar, so that's going to be high impact. And then on Friday, FOMC, yeah, nothing too serious. We have some retail sales coming in on the pound, so that's going to be at 9 in the morning as well. That'll be just before the stream. Just quickly take a look at gold again to see how far we've come down. We are currently rejecting this level of, we haven't actually tapped into it yet, but we are probably going to come down, start rejecting some support levels. But again, if you're in that sell, should have secured by now. That would have been a nice, I'd say, it looks like over 30, yeah, I mean that was 60 pips, so you definitely should be out the trade by now. If not, at least your stop loss at break even, and call it a day, I would say. After taking a nice trade like that, I would most definitely be calling it a day. If you guys haven't already, please do leave a like on the stream and subscribe if you're unsubscribed. Again, it does really help the channel and I would greatly appreciate that. Also, if you have any charts or anything along those lines which you do want me to take a look at, I'll happily take a look at those too. For now, we're just waiting. This candle closes in 10 minutes time, so obviously if we do start closing above these sorts of resistance levels, and I think that we could be looking at some possible bullish continuation. Gold, I do want to see some support start forming, let's say on the 30-minute time frame, maybe at this sort of level. So if we get a nice bullish candle form now, I'll definitely be looking for some minor resistance. So that's going to be your 5 and 15-minute resistance, and then to break through that resistance and retest these sorts of levels. So that's where I will be looking for possible buy entries. We are currently forming some 5-minute resistance. You can see we got down to the bottom of this previous level of consolidation. Let me just get, so we had this consolidation. You can see now we've got down back to these sorts of levels. We are reacting at those levels to further possibly continue bullish. Based on the 4-hour, we have broken the previous 4-hour candle low though. See what the range that we have. I mean, we can always move this up, but it's definitely, yeah, there's definitely not going to be any possible buys above this current level that we're at until we break above 156.856. What we can be looking for now though is, now that we have started continuing bullish, we have also flipped our market structure based on the 30 minutes. So obviously this was our low, this was the point which created the low. We got the candle close above that level, so we are bullish, back to 4v0 bullish market structure. You can see now with this strong bullish push as well, we are going to be creating a new high changing our point of market structural transition to this point down here. So we'll only transition market structure below 155.933, which again, if we are going to come down later at some stage in the day, will play into those sell ideas. Otherwise, what I'll be looking for is once we've created this new high, probably my favorite type of entry is once we create a new high, what we can then do is come back down, retrace a little bit, retest a previous level of support, or sorry, a previous level of resistance, and then continue bullish. So important to take that into consideration. This is, for the members, this will be known as a type D entry. So what's going to happen is, we obviously, once we create our high and then we start rejecting that level, we want to see price start reacting at previous levels of resistance. So that's your break and retest completed. So that will be support forming on those levels. And then also, if we come back down to, let's say, this previous level of support, respect that, that is also going to be similar to your type C and D to then further continue. It was a Twitter, the reason for the push on gold and GJ. Can you send me the link to that so I can check it out? I was also quite surprised about such strong pushes. So obviously the dollar did strengthen quite a lot. Thanks, Alessandro. Let me check that out quickly. Russia says Southern Western armies. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense because that's going to be obviously really good news for the dollar. Dollar has strengthened, driving gold's price down, and obviously the pound as well is going to strengthen, and that is too because they were both very heavily involved in this. So if it is good news, both those currencies are going to be gaining some value. I'll actually be interested to see if both are gaining value, what happened to GU, because then it will be okay. So the pound gained the most value because the pound is even strengthening against the dollar. And they were both affected by that news positively. So the pound must have had a really strong, or must have had really strong impact. Just need to respond to a message really quickly, guys, while we wait for this candle to close. Can be fair and honest in answering my question. As my mentor, do you make good living off trading? Yes or no? Cheers. I think I make a pretty good living off of trading. Yes, yes, Robbie. I would say so. In all exact honesty, I would say I make a good living off of trading. And I believe anyone can with the right approach to trading. Also, obviously, you do need the capital for it as well. It's very hard to make a good living when you start with a small account, but like I said, well, like I always say, you can't, you know, if you can't manage a small account, there's no way on earth you can manage a big account. So it's very important to start with a small account. But yes, Robbie, I would say I make a good living off of trading. Sorry again, guys. I am just responding to a message. Have you cracked 1 million profit, like only for motivation purpose as your goat? I'm pretty open with how much I make on my Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, I have, but also depends on what currency you're talking about. Because I don't know if you're South African and you talk about rands, then yes, definitely. So yeah, just let me know. Okay, let me quickly just respond to this message, guys. I'm sorry. Robbie's distracting me here with his motivational talk and talking about profits. Australian dollars. Let me just check this exchange rate and I'll tell you how much. Let me look. So 2 AUD. Yeah, definitely over that amount. Yeah, it's about your currency is the same value as my currency by the looks of it. Well over that amount. Yeah. $1 Australian, 10 rands. Well, in that case, I would still say so. You're a champion. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Robbie. Okay, we have form support now on gold. So let's see if we carry on with the overall trend. And then again, guys, sorry, just... This from trading $1 million. This is amazing. How many years did it take? Quite a while. It's definitely not going to be a quick process to become successful in trading. Also, like I said, if you don't have learning the technicals can be as quick as weeks, if not months. And obviously, to get really good at them, it's going to take quite a few months, if not years. Like to become amazing at them, but you can definitely get the basics and be able to understand the chart fully. I would say within a month or two of learning correctly how to analyze charts, market structure, technical analysis. The part that I say takes years, or actually this part can take as long as it's going to take you to do it, and that is psychology. If you can't manage your psychology, manage your greed, manage your risk, that sort of thing, and are just over trading all the time, there's no way you'll ever become profitable, ever. But if you can get that under control, and I mean, like I said, you could do that literally in whatever amount of time it's going to take you as a human. So that's obviously going to be based on other aspects of your life. But if you're someone who is able to detach yourself from money and who has always been disciplined in all aspects of life and is disciplined in trading as well, it can take you up to, a couple of weeks to become disciplined. Otherwise, some people only become disciplined in months and years. So again, there's many factors to trading. It takes everyone a different amount of time to understand that, but I would certainly say that it's it's something that is definitely gonna be different, just depending. This 30-minute time frame on gold turned into bearish. Correct, it has. So we obviously had our high, which was created up here. We look for our 2 or more candle pullback. There you have it right over there. Did we get a candle close below that level? We did. So therefore, we are bearish in market structure on the 30-minute. Our 1-hour market structure is going to flip if we close this low down. You can see, obviously, that is our level of market structure transition. We will only transition our 1-hour market structure once this candle has closed, and if it closes below this 1869.97 level. Anything above that, so if what ends up happening is it retraces and closes up here, we have maintained bullish market structure on that time frame. But yes, our 30-minute market structure has transitioned and is currently bearish after that very strong push, which we did identify, or thanks to Alessandro, we now know is because of that news which came out. Even if current 30-minute candle on DJ closes above, it's better to wait for a pullback. And yeah, that's what I would say. Especially if you were looking at the 1-hour candle, there's going to be at some point there has to be exhaustion after such a strong push, unless we just have unbelievable volume and another fundamental sort of move. But what I'd be expecting is maybe some resistance at this sort of level, come down and retest where I have marked out here this original zone. See if we can form some supports on that sort of area, and then let's look for some buys back up to these sorts of levels. What I would say now is, even if we do close above 156.856, it has to be the perfect candle setups for me to want to get involved in that sort of a move. I'd be very, very skeptical or very hesitant to take an entry based on even our type B sort of entries. So when we close above like that, next candle wicks down, taps in, and then this candle pushes. I'd be very, very wary of that, just because of the amount that we've pushed already. So always take into consideration and account for exhaustion, please, guys. And then again, if you guys don't know what exhaustion is, it's when we have a nice strong move. I normally like to look at it on the 1-hour time frame. But if we have strong move in one direction, at some point we do have to create a pullback. And then we're going to capitalize on the point when we start forming some support after that pullback, and find some entries back up to retest the new high which was created. So let's just be a little bit patient. Obviously we did not get, or sorry, I did not get the original entries. I was not interested in actually taking any trades in this zone whatsoever. This was tempting me more, but by the time price had got over here, our stop loss technical level was going to be below that 30-minute candle. So if we base that, that is going to be a 50 pip stop loss. Now I don't know about how you guys trade, but there's no way on earth I'm having a 50 pip stop loss. Based on the 30-minute time frame. Maybe if it was a daily or 4-hour base trade, but certainly not on the 30-minute time frame. And so what I'm going to want to do now that I've missed the original move, the reason why I have absolutely no FOMO about that whatsoever is because I'm already expecting what's going to happen is we're going to start forming some resistance. Maybe we'll consolidate and then we'll get the close above, and then I'll be happier to take it, because this consolidation, that's our exhaustion. Otherwise what we're going to get is a straight move down, form some support and retest that high. Wait for one of those two. Either wait for consolidation or wait for a retest of the high or the low. In this case, it's going to be the high. I will answer that just now, Jessica. I'm just responding to a pretty urgent message. Okay, how much capital do you start with? Let me think. What I did at first was start with an original amount, and then it was definitely not a massive amount. I'd say in Australian dollars maybe a few thousand. And then what I did was, once I understood that I could grow that and do consistent 20 to, I'd say even 10 to 20% a month, what I then felt comfortable with doing was depositing more money into that trading account, so that then I knew that, okay, I can work with the smaller money and then build that up to bigger amounts, so that when I'm trading with the bigger money, I still have the principles and the discipline that I had with the smaller money. So I'd say when it became really good money was with about 10, you can work out in US dollars, but it was about 20 to 30,000. I'd say 25 to 30,000 US dollars is when you're making really, really good return. Really good return. And then obviously build that up. Like I've said though many times though, guys, there's no secret recipe to trading. It's just doing the small things correctly and consistently. And less is more is the best approach you can have when it comes to trading. You just see it too much, people trying to take on too much, people trying to trade 50 pairs, people trying to take 50 trades a day, people trying to trade every session, spending 14 hours of their day looking at a chart. Just cut all that shit out and you'll be fine. All you'll have to do is trade one pair, one or two pairs, take 1 to 2 trades a day, and trade 1 or 2 sessions. Simple as that. And risk 1 and 2 is the numbers, or the only numbers you need to know in trading. Risk 1 to 2% of your account. That is all you need per trade, maximum. And obviously, if you know how to risk manage, this 1 is going to become 0.5, and this 2 is going to become a 1. If you know what you're doing, so you're going to actually only end up losing half, if not less. These are the most important aspects to trading if you want to become profitable. Less is more. I promise you, you guys will never regret that. I said that coming into this new year when I was streaming at the at the end of last year. If there's one thing that you can take into this new year, it is all of those aspects. Those less is more approaches to absolutely every aspect of trading. Risk, amounts of trades you're taking per day, sessions, and pairs, obviously. You guys have been watching me for how long now, and all you've seen, especially those guys who follow me on Instagram, all you've seen is results from these 2 pairs. These are the only 2 pairs I trade. I don't know if you guys see the numbers, but for me, people who say you can't make a lot of money taking 1 or 2 trades a day, taking or focusing on 1 or 2 pairs, or focusing on such small things, well, then they must be making unearthly amounts of money, because you can definitely make a living off of doing exactly that with the less is more approach. And if you don't believe it, just go straight to the King's Capital Instagram and go look at all the results which have been kept in the highlights, or just follow the page. Simple as that. It's free and you can keep up to date with all the results. So just remember these 2 numbers and apply them to absolutely every aspect of your trading, and you'll be perfectly fine. You'll notice a difference, I will say, in 2 months. In 2 months' time, you'll notice a massive difference. The other thing as well, guys, is obviously it is a completely different situation, but if you on signals groups, if you on trading bots, buying a trading bot, relying on that to make your money, get off of it. Like, excuse the language, but stay the fuck away from those sorts of things, because that is just a recipe for eating your money. That's all that's going to happen, is you're feeding those trading bots. You're feeding the people who created those trading bots who provide you with those signals. Just, that is the easy way out, you know, and it doesn't work. It's not even a way out. It's the easy way to run around in circles. Stay as far away from that as possible, and you will be, again, 1,000 times better off than if you don't. Learn how to do it properly. Find a proper mentor, or find a proper course, or you know how much free education there is on YouTube alone, guys. There's a huge amount of free education. Go find live streams, you know, like Roger Banks's, Todd Capital Group. Go find those sorts of live streams. They will offer a huge amount of information for free, absolutely free of charge. Also, another big thing is strategy, guys, or I don't like to call it strategy, but the way that you approach trading. So how do you mark out a zone? How do you look for entries? So to a lot of people, that strategy. For me, it's just understanding how price moves. So I don't quite call it a strategy, but the way that I enter into trades is purely based off of how price moves. Yeah, gold is going absolutely crazy. Proper correction happening here of this move. If we look on the 4 hour, we might come down much further, to be honest. If we're going to be looking, strategy, yeah, stick to one way of trading for at least 6 months. If you're trying out, I hate them, but if you're trying out trend lines, don't give up because you're not profitable after a month or 2 months or even a week, 2 weeks, and then try the next thing, stochastics, or what else do we have? We have Hichimoku clouds, or I don't know, whatever those things are called. Just whatever you're going to go for, commit to it for 6 months. If you can't manage those 6 months, then obviously trading isn't for you, because then you're just not disciplined enough or committed enough to try something else. If you're going to go for price action, stick to price action for 6 months. Support and resistance, stick to that for 6 months. Just try that out, and then obviously while doing that, obviously if you are trading whatever strategy you're trading or whatever approach you have, if you're still taking 50 trades a day, well then it's still not going to work. But what you need to do to that is then implement the 1 or 2 rule. I think we're going to coin it as that, the 1 or 2 rule, although Roger Banks did more or less invent it, so I can't really say it's mine, but I would certainly agree with it. Okay, so it's more or less 11 o'clock my time now, guys, so I think I'm going to be heading off just now. Let me just go through again what I'm going to be looking for. Gold's obviously pushed down a lot, so I will need to update my chart, but if gold comes down, you know, below these sorts of levels, we can be expecting much larger corrections, especially based on the higher time frames as well. You can see all the clean candles on the higher time frames. Market structure is obviously looking like it's going to flip on the 1 hour, which is great. That means we can start looking for some possibly early entries for the continuation of the sells. If we're going to be looking at GJ, like I said, I'm now very interested in these continuation safer buys above 156.856. So that will be that. I think I'm going to be doing a Discord call today, this afternoon. So if you guys aren't in the Discord, join the Telegram. The link is in the link for the Telegram is in the description, and I will put the Discord link in there. And yeah, that's a nice opportunity to have a conversation with you guys. Bought books about Ichimoku, and at the end it's useless. Exactly, all that sort of stuff just. It seems very fraudulent unless you literally study it day and night for years. It's just too complicated, too much happening on the screen. It's just rather keep it simple. Once again, less is more. This is much easier, more basic to understand, and works 1,000 times better. Other than that, guys, if you aren't subscribed or haven't left a like on the stream, please do that. Would be much appreciated. I also appreciate all the support, and for everyone who was in chat today, it was really nice to catch up with you guys, and I'll see you exact same time tomorrow. Those of you who aren't going to be in the Discord call, that will be for New York. I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning, same time for the London stream, and I will chat to you guys later. Remember, everyone who is on the Discord is just going to be just before New York, so it'll be 2:45 my time, so just before New York. So yeah, I will see you guys all then, and yeah, appreciate the support, and cheers.